And
Whoa.
Smiffy, I'm so excited because
Man.
we're podcasting.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy.
I'm putting on my happy face today, Smith.
You are.
Super happy.
I don't know who this Smife guy is, but I know what you're talking about.
You want to know why?
Yes.
Because, my friend, we are talking about the fleet. And we're talking about defeat. And we're talking about the fleet while we're walking down the street. And we kind of got beat. That's some good intro music.
It is. I hope y'all got up and danced around.
And we didn't just kind of get defeated. We didn't just kind of get beat.
It was a loss, but
it
wasn't
a loss.
beating.
It was a loss. Listen, there were some good takeaways. We'll get into the game recap in the show. We have a wonderful show today.
We do. We have special guest, General Manager Dave Boller.
Dave Boller is joining us. The Shipyard, which is the podcast that you are currently listening to. I am Joe VanAwesome. With me, as always, is Brian Smiffy Smith. Smiffy?
Yes.
You're looking well.
Thank you.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Yeah, you holding up?
I'm holding it.
Yeah.
How about you, sir?
Well, we've had a few days to reflect.
Yeah.
We've had a few days to reflect
To look at ourselves in the mirror.
Look at ourselves.
Like, is this really what we're doing?
Take a good, hard, deep
look.
At our faces, which is not always the easiest thing to do.
No. Sometimes it is the thing of nightmares.
I try to keep my mirror time to as minimal as possible.
Me too, and that's why I like to say, I got a face made for radio.
Yes, indeed, sir. But we're kind of forced to take that deep look this week, were we not?
We are. It's time to, just got to man up. Just got to accept the fate that was bestowed upon us on Saturday night.
Yep, we got beat. We got beat by the freaking Commanders.
The freaking Commanders of San Antonio.
And they were just so happy about it, were they not, Smiffy?
Of course. We knew they would be. But we still have the best Mexican food.
Yeah, well, listen, this is what happens when you get a rivalry going.
It is. You know what?
What's kind of nice.
It's a good rivalry.
It is. It's kind of nice that there's this much emotion tied to the first game of a first team that has ever played ever of a brand new league.
Correct.
Like, who would have thought that so many people, I spent the evening crying.
You did.
Personally. You did. I'm a big man. I'm
At
a big
bar.
boy. I'm a big boy.
There's a lot of.
I can admit when I'm crying. And it's
I buried my sorrows in a big old plate of all you can eat. Well, not really all you can eat. I mean, in a way, it's all you can eat because it was a big plate.
It was a big plate
of loaded tater tots.
Loaded tater tots. Yeah, if that's not all you can eat, then in fact, I believe our buddy Peter ordered that tot.
He did.
Peter ordered those tots
and then
ate himself
promptly
silly. Had a previous engagement that he had to take off of, and then that same plate of tots, I think, fed about 4 more people.
It did.
Until we were sick of tots. But tots is not the moral of the story here this week, Smith. We did have our watch party, which was actually a lot of fun. I
had a lot of fun. I thought it was definitely more successful than I thought of, but I'm always sometimes a little bit of a skeptic.
Now, yes, and there were I would say it was a good show up, and the cool part was that we were all so enthusiastic.
Yes,
that the entire bar, basically by the end of the first quarter, were converted Fleet fans.
We're all Fleet fans. Yes.
Yeah. The whole place was like, what? Wait, what's going on? Why are these guys so excited? Football's not even. They looked up and they're like, wait a second, football's happening?
This? Yes.
These people didn't even know.
No, had no clue.
At
a bar called the 55-yard line.
I know.
And they had no clue about football.
They had no idea that the Alliance was coming. And so, that's interesting in and of itself. But
can I go back a little bit to that whole thing? It's like, to me, it's kind of like if you're at a bar called the 19th hole and you know nothing about golf.
Well, but that's the thing is like even football fans, it's a little tough to reach people.
You know
sometimes.
what? And we're seeing that from a couple of the NFL teams. I think when it was like the Vikings mascot or something posted something on Twitter like, "Oh, football's over." He's crying like, "And nah, you had to do the Matumba."
There's a good tweeting opportunities there, but yeah. So long story short, Smith, the watch party was great. I think it's something that we'll probably continue doing.
We will.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I would like to. It might not always be a 55-yard line, but we'll figure it out. But I hadn't had that much fun watching a football game in a really long time, I have to say.
Same here.
Yeah. So
especially after the lackluster Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you know what the interesting thing was? The Super Bowl end score wasn't that much different than our final score, but it was so much more entertaining of a game.
Absolutely.
So the now Smiffy, there's one play of that game in particular that has set the league, social media sphere on fire.
It has.
Of course, we're talking about the sack on Mike Bercovici.
The helmet-inducing removal sack.
Yeah. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, you've definitely seen it. If by chance you have not seen it, you're missing out. You need to go watch this hit on Mike Bercovici. It's one of the hardest hits I've ever seen in just football, period.
Right.
Now, it was a clean hit.
It was clean. It was legal.
Long story short, it was a clean hit. It was just a brutal hit. And Bercovici, to his credit, just got right back up like it was nothing.
Put the helmet back on.
Yeah.
And then promptly, I don't know what he did after that.
Yeah. Now, my initial thought is he got back up so easily that it was one of those probably hits that looked a lot worse than it actually was.
Right.
And he was in a very volatile position where he...
In the midst of trying to throw it.
So he didn't have his balance and he just got rocked. But the one, if there's anything, you don't like seeing your quarterback get hit like that. No. But a commentary, league-wide commentary, I would have to say is that play was great for the league.
Yes. I mean, as brutal as it was, I think that made a whole heck of a lot more people aware of this league. Than anything else could have. Any advertising, any whatever you want to call doohickeys and billboards and more doohickeys.
A lot of money spent on doohickeys these days. But that clip has gone banana cakes.
Yes.
All over the place. And millions of views. And it kind of sucks for Bercovici. I mean,
the end result, for sure.
Now, of course, Bercovici also got benched. Now, Smith, what do you want to do? You want to get right into the Fleet game first and then do the round the games, or you want to cover all the rest of the games real quick?
Let's get the rest of the games quick.
Okay. We're going to come back. We're going to come back to the Fleet game. We'll break it down. We'll and then we're also going to talk a little bit about the Fleet versus Atlanta coming up. But let's just do a real quick recap of the entire league scores.
Do it.
And now, welcome to the AAF
Power Round.
Smooth transitions is what we're all about here.
So who do we got first here, sir?
So up first was the Apollos defeated the Legends 40-6.
Ouch.
Yeah, Garrett Gilbert went 15 for 25, 227, 2 TDs, and a receiving touchdown.
Look at this guy.
I don't know if you saw that.
Look at this guy.
Yeah. He Garrett Gilbert did the old Super Bowl from last year play where he
the Eagles.
Yeah. And then Charles Johnson was the standout receiver.
Oh, Chuck Johnson.
Yeah, so he spread it around. Chuck Johnson got only 44 yards. So he spread the ball around quite a bit. And then Akeem Hunt looked pretty good. 10 carries, 73 yards, 7.3.
That is
average.
quite the YPC.
Yeah, so that was actually the best yards per carry in the league.
I know who's second.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But and then so next up, Smith, we had the Hot Shots defeating the Stallions 38-22.
Oh, the ponies went down, huh?
Yep. Now, I gotta say, Smith, at first I didn't like the Hot Shots uniforms.
Right.
But now I am digging them.
I can't agree with you.
Really?
Yeah, it's just too Oregon Duckish.
I don't know. I like them. I just gotta say,
you know what? You can like what you want.
I like them. I don't know why.
Okay, that's cool.
They went from like my least favorite to my favorite.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just something about the execution of them.
Stallions. I mean, it's not that I hate the Hot Shots uniforms. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, one thing you can't hate about the Hot Shots is the play of quarterback John Wolford.
They were definitely putting it up in the air.
Yeah, 18 for 29, 275, and 4 touchdowns for Wolford.
Oh, my goodness. And you know what? And that Ross guy on the Hot Shots was just eating that defense.
Rashad Ross.
Yes.
5 for 103 and 2 touchdowns. Really, really good, clean game from the Hot Shots, I have to say. It's just a very...
and surprisingly a decent crowd for a city that already has an NFL and playing in a stadium that has an extremely popular college team.
And it was the lowest crowd of all the games.
Yes.
But it was still, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15,000.
Yeah, it was definitely 5 digits.
Yeah. So, not too bad. But I think, with how well they played in week 1, I think those attendance numbers will be going each week.
I hope so too. I hope so.
So,
Berkovici cannot keep getting hit like that every week.
That's true. But and then of course the Iron defeat the Express 26-0. Shut them out. Trent Richardson.
Now they know how I feel when I go home and I see that little tag. Sorry, we missed you. You're gonna have to pick up your package later.
I had some beef with FedEx recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is maybe payback for that. I was so furious with FedEx. Anyway, that's not really worth getting into right now. But long story short is that they were basically making it literally impossible for me to receive my package, or anybody who has a job.
Oh, okay.
For that matter.
Okay.
With this particular shipping method,
wow,
it would be impossible for you to ever receive your package. Anyways, so Trent Richardson.
Hey, that's a familiar name.
Big name coming in. His career average in the NFL was 2.5 yards per carry, and
in the NFL or during the game.
No, in the NFL.
Oh,
and he carried that straight through to this game.
Well, you know what? Hey, the man's consistent.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
But yeah, 23 carries. He did have the most carries out of any running back in the league.
Ooh. 23.
23 carries. And I forgot to write down his total yardage, but he did have two touchdowns. 2 touchdowns in the game.
Well, you know what? He scored. He found that end zone.
He was effective. And Luis Perez played pretty good game. No passing touchdowns, but 252. Had him on my fantasy league.
Solid game.
And what I was really impressed with in the Iron game was this receiver, Quentin Patton.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. He's quick. He's
QP.
He's got a quick, almost Antonio Brownish style of play about him. But he had 9 targets, caught 4 of them, 107 yards. So they were big plays. But he had 1 terrible drop.
Right.
Yeah, he was wide open for probably, I think, 45 yards. And just doinked it.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens from time to time. Fortunately for the Iron, it didn't matter.
Yeah. And that brings us to the Fleet falling to the
premier game of the week.
Game of the week. Huge crowd. 27,000, I believe, is what they pulled in.
Yes. Hey, you know what? I got to give San Antonio fans credit. They showed up.
They definitely did show up. So good job, San Antonio.
You set the standard.
I was hoping to
all the other cedars, cedars or cities, whatever we call them these days.
There are cedars in cities, if I'm not to be mistaken.
The mind blown.
Yeah. But so about almost 28,000 showed up to that game. No complaints here. That set the tone for the league. I think San Antonio was super enthusiastic, and they turned out. So got to give them props there.
Yeah, I even saw some Fleet fans in the crowd.
Yeah, saw a couple Fleet fans. Saw some people just wearing general football stuff.
Totally.
They're football fans. They came out to watch some football.
Yeah, I want to see some football.
Yeah. But
so you have to see it.
So, Smith, the game was close the entire time. Back and forth. There was field goals abound.
And we actually talked about this while we were watching this. We pretty much came to the consensus that was whoever makes the least mistakes is going to win.
Yep.
And that's basically what happened.
Yep. And we did not. We were not that team.
No. Nope.
Yep. Let's just, for lack of a better phrase, butt ton of sacks.
There were some sacks going on.
Yeah, I believe there was 6 sacks. And that's not good.
No.
It's not good, Smith.
And as we watched the game, one thing that I noticed was that the Fleet's offensive line was just, they must have thought there was like some wizardry going on with these spin moves because it's like, where'd he go? Oh, he got the quarterback.
The spin moves were killing him. It's like you spin, and next thing you know, they're at the quarterback. And it's just like mesmerizing. So
looking at the coaches, can they do that?
Yeah, is that legal?
Whoa. Speaking of legal.
Yes.
What's up with that Sky Judge?
Sky Judge was a no-show. I have to say, look, I'm not the type to complain about calls. I don't think this call had really a difference in the game whatsoever.
However,
yes, go ahead.
If you highlight at the very beginning of the game the purpose of the Sky Judge,
yeah,
and it basically we forgot to plug it in. or what. I don't even know if the sky judge is an actual person or some AI.
Didn't show up, or the sky judge got a little too high, fell asleep. But there was one player in particular where there was a first down call on the field. He was easily a yard and a half shy. I mean,
easily. I think that was the first series of the game.
Yeah. Egregiously short of a first down. And they called a first down, and I'm like, oh, sky judge about to kick in. Look, we're going to see some sky judge. Crickets.
Yep. First down.
First down. Wait a second. What about the sky judge? He's supposed to eradicate. Or, for that matter, the freaking sensor in the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so the sky judge was a no-show.
Yeah, that
was a little disappointing. If I have one disappointing thing, it was the officiating and the lack of, what we would expect to be obvious overturns from the touted sky judge. That just didn't happen.
And it was almost like they forgot to turn the technology on.
Yeah.
Because
it's just a dude.
Well, it's even the sensors in the ball that should have said, like, hey, that's not where the ball stopped.
That's true.
I have one other gripe about the rules.
Go for it.
And that's the 15-yard penalty being assessed to the defense for an illegal formation. They're counting it as a personal foul. That makes no sense to me. At worst, it should be like a false start on the offense. It should be 10 yards.
Yeah.
And repeat it down.
Honestly, I think it should only be 5 yards.
Okay.
And because it's like what's the penalty for illegal offense? Or
illegal formation.
Illegal formation.
Yeah, it's
definitely not 15 yards. I think it's 5 yards.
Yeah, it's 5 yards.
So I don't understand why that's such a huge penalty.
Yeah,
15 yards.
15 yard penalties are personal fouls. Face mask, roughing the passer, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah.
It's typically, like, in every sense of the word, an egregious foul.
Yeah. And these guys just kind of lined up in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it's like, whoops.
15 yards. 15 yards.
Oh, boy.
You're done.
Yep.
But yeah, so at least in the Fleet Commanders game, the officiating, there was no complaints from Martz in the press conference about the officiating in particular, but there was some going on at the bar.
There definitely was. I mean, it wasn't the worst officiating, but going back to the whole sky judge thing, it seems like that was supposed to be a fallback, and that was never used.
Yeah, and I think, as being a feature of the league, and it's supposed to correct some of these things, when something like that happens front and center, it's not that great of a thing. That being said,
yes,
Smith.
Yes,
there was a lot of quality football being played on that field.
There was. I really love the pace of the game.
Love the pace of the game. Our running game is a real bright spot for us.
It is.
Now, I wish we would have stuck to it.
I think if we had stuck to it, I think the outcome would have been a lot different.
I think so, too.
I think we went easy.
Jaquan Gardner, we're talking, lit it up, for lack of a better word.
Mixing it up, he made that batter.
Yeah, he did mix it up with the 8 carries, only 8 carries, but 55 yards, 6.9 yard average.
Second most yards per carry in the league on the first week.
Yeah, so we want to see a little bit more Jaquan Gardner in week 2. I think we will. I think Atlanta has proved to be a little bit lack on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
Spurrier really took it to him.
Spurrier seemed to take extreme advantage of that.
So we'll see in this upcoming game. We do talk about this a little bit with Dave Boller coming up in our interview.
We do.
So we'll let him talk about that, and then, but yeah, Jaquan Gardner. Really good.
Bright spot.
Other bright spot, tight ends.
Tight ends, definitely.
Yeah.
Man, some great grabs.
Gavin Escobar, 66 yards, 5 targets, 4 receptions.
I like BB stats.
Yeah.
5 of 6, 66 yards. Man, that's good.
Yep. Ford showed up. He's 3 for 3. Listen, Dantes Ford doesn't have a target that he hasn't caught yet.
That's amazing. That is.
Yeah, 3 for 3, 56. He's a big play guy. Cam Kelly, he got 3 targets for just 1 catch, though.
Yeah, one of those targets, though, he was held. Yeah, and the penalty did get called.
Yeah. So, and he put on a good move in that before that hold.
That was a sweet move.
Yeah. So, but we talked to Dave about Cam Kelly and his injury status as well. He came limping off the field towards the end of that game.
Yep.
So we'll let Dave talk about it. We'll let Dave talk about it. It's called a tease.
Silly goose.
But overall, an encouraging game. I think the Commanders, honestly, at least in the preseason game, they were playing Atlanta as
Right.
well, which has proven to not be that great of a defense. But,
True.
I think they're one of the better offenses in the league, and our defense really came through.
Defense was definitely the brightest of the spots on Saturday night. You got a defense here. Let's be real. Pretty much for 3.5 quarters, kept the team in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's only so much defense can do without the offense crossing that goal line.
Yeah. And so DeMontre Moore on the D line.
Congratulations, by the way, DeMontre Moore, the first ever sack in the AAF.
He had 1.5 sacks on the day, 6 QB hits.
Ooh, so he was getting in there, man.
He was. So everyone else on the team combined, there was only 4 other QB hits.
Oh, wow.
And DeMontre Moore had 6.
And that's impressive considering the fact that you can only rush 5 at a time.
Yep. Very, very good. So five solo tackles as well.
Nice.
So 1.5 sacks, 6 QB hits, 5 solo tackles.
One man wrecking crew.
He is killing it. He is basically what I expected Jose Duncan Jr. to be.
Right.
So, but I didn't see DeMontre Moore in person, so maybe he is a monster of a man as well.
Late bloomer.
So Smiffy, I think
that wraps it up, man.
I think that wraps it up for the recap.
I like it.
Now, no, there's one other thing I want to talk about.
Please
one other thing I want to talk about.
Please do.
Smiffy.
Yes.
I'm talking about pants.
Oh boy.
Now, okay, listen. We've spent more than our fair share. Edit point. Now we have spent more than our fair share. Of time on uniform critique on this show.
I think that's one thing we're actually good at.
We are really good at that. I think that's our strong point. Now, we had some gripes about the socks in the preseason. Those gripes were not addressed.
Nope, the banana leg warmers.
Yeah, the socks are all over the place now, but the pants is something that I didn't expect.
That looks like okay.
So I'll just lay it out there.
The variety of lengths.
There's a variety of pants lengths, which I've never seen. I mean, you see it in baseball. Some guys are wearing pants down to their ankles.
It just reminds me the team mom handed out the pants.
No, but I honestly think this was intentional. Really? I think they give them the option to stylistically change what kind of pants they want, because there's no football pant in existence that I know that goes down to someone's ankles. Yeah, and Gavin Escobar was rocking pants down to his ankles.
Yeah, I thought he was playing shortstop.
For example, whereas other guys on the team had pants that were a good 8 inches above their knee.
Oh yeah, which also translated into the varying lengths of the socks. Some look like people were wearing ankle socks. And others
I was just super confused.
Like they were in thigh highs and they're getting ready to go to the strip club.
I've just never seen anything like it before.
Me
I was
neither.
super confused. Now there's one other thing that's been brought up, Smiffy.
Yes.
I don't want to spend.
I think I know what you're talking.
I don't want to spend too much time on pants. This is something that I've noticed. I noticed a long time ago, and I've not said it.
You and I have actually talked about it.
I think so.
Yes.
The Fleets jerseys.
Yes.
Look almost identical to the Buffalo Wild Wings jerseys.
Yes. I mean, you can't get past it.
And I was like,
you're just gonna have to own up to it.
I saw 2 tweets where someone called it out. I saw it such a long time ago. But what I almost thought we should do is just go get some B-Dubs jerseys. And I think they're probably like $20 on Amazon.
way cheaper than the 99
for the first game at least. Yes. And then until they come out with the authentic jerseys, which is what I'm holding out for.
Same here.
But yeah, I just some that keeps getting pointed out now, and I'm just like, and now it's like Conspiracy Corner.
Oh yeah,
because B-Dubs is an advertiser in the league.
They are.
It's like, hey, and the other thing is that the Commanders jerseys look like the managers' jerseys at B-Dubs.
They do.
It's the Commanders jerseys and the Fleet jerseys are basically Buffalo Wild Wings jerseys.
Pretty much. Yes.
And then you're watching the game and it has a little Buffalo Wild Wings icon in the bottom right corner, and you're like,
oh, rub it in.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed it such a long time ago, and I was like, oh, maybe no one will see this.
No, we actually talked about this it was after the uniform reveal. We talked about it. And like, you know what? I want to say something so bad. This is what you're telling me. I want to say something so bad, but I don't want to bring attention to it because you'll never hear the end of it.
I know. But the good thing is that it's both the Commanders, because the Commanders will be the ones coming at us hard with it.
Of course.
But theirs is the same thing.
Oh, totally.
It just depends on what, level of employee you are.
Yes. Are you setting the schedule or not?
But moving right along, Smiff, we have an interview with Dave Boller. Very insightful. We hit him with some tough questions on the Alex Ross, Phil Nelson decision,
right.
Which we're talking about way too late into the show. But Mike Bergovici, of course, is no longer the starter.
Nope.
Mike Martz, in the post-game interview, talked a lot about Phil Nelson, who, by the way, I'm going to call this the era of abs.
Yes. I mean, if this team, or I should say, if this league was solely based on abs, we would have already won the championship.
What we're talking about is Phil Nelson's Instagram channel.
He is one
ladies,
heck of a hunkin' quarterback.
You're welcome. We'll link you in the show notes,
yes.
And you have
find you some free time.
Let's just say I think the female population of the audience crowd, so to speak, will be much higher than typical at a football game.
I would say if the Fleet were smart, they would come out with a 12-month calendar, and every month would be just Philip Nelson. At various places around San Diego.
What can I say?
Perhaps shirtless.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a money maker.
Pop off that shirt, Phil. Let's sell some tickets.
Yep. So the difference is now that Philip Nelson is going to go in, his helmet doesn't pop off, but his jersey does.
Hey, man, we're looking to sell tickets anyway.
Hey, we're trying to put butts in seats here.
Trying to put butts in seats. But so without any further ado, here is our interview with GM Dave Boller. We get right to the hard-hitting questions and enjoy. And welcome to the show, GM of the San Diego Fleet, Dave Boller. Dave, how are you?
Great, man. Thanks for having us on.
Hey, absolutely. We really appreciate you coming on with us. Dave, I've got a toughie for you right off the bat. How's that sound? So we heard Martz in the press conference after the game talking about Philip Nelson. And one of the things that we noticed looking at the box scores of the preseason game was that the majority of the work was actually going to Alex Ross, where Ross completed
13 of 16.
13 of 16 for 118 and 2 touchdowns, and Nelson had 4 attempts for 3 completions and 25 yards. So we're to put it light, we're a little confused. Where was what was Martz talking about where Nelson was playing in the preseason lights out and didn't have an incompletion? Or we're just a little confused. Can you clarify that for us?
Yeah, well, it was a battle. When we came into minicamp, it started. Mike and I thought highly of all 3 quarterbacks. And of course, we were hoping, Josh was still coming. So,
right.
Once we got to camp, Alex was probably 1. And then maybe Philip struggled a little at the beginning. And then Berkovici moved up. And it was a 3-way race. They all get along, but it was more in practice. We didn't do any inter-squad scrimmages with anybody else until the preseason game. And then when we got into it, I think Berko got most of the load. And then, but you know what? He's real comfortable with Philip. He had him in the NFLPA game. And when Philip came in the other night, he did a real good job. And, it's still, I think Mike's comfortable with any of them, to be honest, out there, and that's what's going to happen. Right now we're going to go with a hot hand till one establishes himself.
Okay,
sounds like a plan.
Sounds good. So there was no other game that we just didn't hear about where Nelson had the numbers that it looked like Ross had in that preseason game. Is what I'm hearing.
Well, a lot of our numbers become in practice. We work against each other so hard.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
It's just like me on the golf course. Go really hot for a couple of weeks, and I'll put them duck hook and everything out of bounds. So.
Yeah,
start from the white tees.
Exactly.
All right, Dave. So we have a few other questions, so I apologize in advance. A lot of, I think, what we're going to utilize our time with you for is just clearing up some confusions and stuff that we just aren't completely clear about, and I think a lot of people have these questions. So if you don't mind humoring us here, we are just kind of curious around trading in the AAF. Is there a deadline? How often is that type of thing going to happen? We've only seen, to my knowledge, the one trade between you at preseason and Memphis. How active is the trading going on, and are there any parameters that the audience should know about there?
I think everybody feels, all the GMs have been together before we put our teams together. So you hate to say we're competitors, but we're a close-knit group. And then once you got your team going, you really wanted to see what you had. And at the time, we were really strong at the tight end position, and all the guys should have made the team. So we were banged up at running back, and we just happened to shop him. And hey, we wanted to have him a chance before cuts to make another team.
Nice.
He's back on my right squad now when he didn't make their team, so we could actually bring him back. I just don't think there's been a lot of trades because you're trying to develop your own guys.
Sure.
It's a new league, and you're trying to figure out. But with the allocation and stuff, that's how it is. And to be honest, when we did our cuts, I think only 6 or 8 players were actually claimed. One of them was ours, who we wanted back, and that was John Latui's brother, Tao. And it was real close. That was another strong position. Every one of our linebackers, they all could have played for us. It was the strongest, probably overall group, and we had to let a few guys go. It was tough.
Well, Smiffy here, got a question for you. Speaking of affiliation and the like, there's another point of confusion that seems to be going around today, especially where there seems to be this misconception, and correct me if I'm wrong, that certain teams in the AAF are actually associated,
like an official association,
associated with certain teams in FL. Like, say, for the Fleet, they're associated maybe with the Rams, and they can only have players go to the Rams, which my understanding is completely false.
No. The way the allocation worked, you always go to the college first. And we have probably like 20 schools, like San Diego State,
sure,
USC. We have Stanford. We have University of Washington, Colorado. Arizona has Arizona State, U of A, and they have UCLA. So if that kid's playing an NFL team, we get them first.
Nice.
All right, Does that make sense?
It does,
yes,
yeah.
totally.
Yep.
Then we have 4 NFL teams. We had the Chargers. We had the Raiders. And we had the Rams. And we had the Detroit Lions. So if a kid is from an allocated school and he's on that team, he's ours.
Gotcha.
So like Brumskill was at Atlanta. When he finally decided to play, it goes back to San Diego State. So now he's ours, and he's starting at right tackle. Gotcha. And then we each have a Canadian team. Ours is British Columbia. And we haven't done a lot in Canada, to be honest. And maybe that's on me. But,
it is cold there right now.
It's chilly.
Yeah. It takes a while to figure it out, but that's how we set up the allocation system, and it seems like it's working.
Sure. So to clarify, it's in our policy that we have an affiliation for those teams coming to the AAF, but there is no association of players coming from the AAF to the NFL, correct? Like, you're not developing players for the Raiders teams. For specific teams. That's the misconception. It's really the other way around.
Perfect.
Those are my rights guys.
Yeah.
But still, if he's an allocated player, I don't have his rights. If he's unallocated, they're all mine.
Gotcha.
But basically, what we're trying to do is any of our guys who play well, it doesn't matter what team signs them, we want them back in the league. So
awesome. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
Great. So we had some.
I'll get you guys. You know what?
Yeah.
You got to remind me and send me a note. I'll email you, and you can put on the site. I'll tell you who our allocated college schools are, and then the allocated pro teams. That'll help you guys and maybe help the fans out.
Awesome. No, that's fantastic.
That sounds great. And Yeah, and again, I think the confusion today, it was going all over Twitter to reiterate that people were saying things along the lines of, "Oh, the Fleet is a developmental team for the Lions," like specifically.
Yeah.
The opposite way of what we've understood the Alliance to be. So I just wanted to clear the air.
Right.
I knew that wasn't the case, and so I wanted to hear it from straight from the mouth of the Lions. So, or is that the phrase? I think I got that wrong, but anyway. So, but thank you so much.
My selling point to the guys when we sign them, and guys who've been out for a year, like Travis Feeney or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Travis. I know you got an agent, but you understand. I know every GM in the National Football League. Your coach does. Mike Marsh does. If you want back in the league, they're going to call us and say, "Hey, how's Travis doing?" And we'll get him back in.
Nice.
Mike Perkovich, whoever it is. That's
Sure.
how we're promoting. And hey, we're going to get you there. Just come and play, all out, and that's the goal for all these guys. It's not a second chance league. It's a developmental league. It's a professional football league.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we really enjoyed the game against the Command. I mean, would have enjoyed it a little bit more had we won, but it was a very hard fought, tough, fun, exciting. We really, overall, my impression, I loved the AAF the first week.
I love the speed and everything.
The speed, hard hits going on. One in particular is unavoidable, but so what was the tone around practice this week? How are the guys, how's the team doing after week one? How are we looking week two?
I think we came out of the game pretty healthy. Our corner, Jude.
Yeah, that's a tough break right there.
He has a little bit of a wrist, but we're going to get that taken care of, and he'll be back.
Nice.
He might have to set a week, but otherwise, we came out of the game pretty healthy. That's always a plus. Our guys played hard. They're positive. I think they knew, we clean up the mistakes. We're right in it. I think you look at the totals and everything I always have learned this from coaches. The team that makes the fewest mistakes usually wins. And, we made a couple more mistakes than they did. But our yards, our defense played hard, some bad situations.
The rushing attack
the guys
was really impressive.
They weren't hanging their head. They're like, they let one go. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And if San Antonio's the best team in the league, you know what? We'll get this one game at a time.
Yep.
We're going to take care of things at home this week. And you know what? They got to come to our place in another week. And then we'll see.
Well, speaking of bumps and bruises, we saw Cam Kelly limp off there towards the end of the game. Is he okay?
Anything?
We are concerned.
I came back out of the press box and I saw it. And I'm like, oh man, it looked like a bad roll on it, where it just rolled up. And you know what? He was fine. He's fine right now. We're gonna have a go after it tomorrow, full padded practice.
Nice.
Awesome.
They had one day off today. We ran them and got them loosened up. Everybody seems back. They're in meetings and getting dialed in.
Whew, that's good to hear. We hadn't heard anything on Cam. We got the chance. He came and joined us for a full hour a couple weeks back, and so really like Cam. He's a great guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Best story coming out of camp. His switch from defense to offense, and so we're really pulling for him. And good to hear that he's okay.
Yeah, a phenomenal athlete. I met his parents at the hotel. He's from Texas. He was a high school quarterback. And that's sometimes how you're not as highly recruited because you don't know what position they are. Maybe he probably could have played quarterback. He still thinks he can. But, he comes to San Diego State and then even at Dallas. And, he's just so athletic and he has great hands. And at the time, our receivers hurt, so Mike moved him. And it seemed like a natural, but he could play either side of the ball. He's that talented.
Yeah, he's got a great vertical leap. That's for sure.
We did.
Got long arms. Athletic. You know what? He can run. I mean, what else do you want?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's
nothing. More targets.
More targets. Yes, I'm sure he agrees too.
So we had some transactions come down the wire today. Looks like we picked up a corner and an offensive lineman who was re-signed. Jared Koff. He was released. It said because of an illness early on in camp. You want to anything about Xavier Coleman or Gerald Koff? What we should know about?
Jared, we had penciled in early on. He's from Colorado. We thought he would be in the mix for a starting position, and he had mono over Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
So at minicamp, he really couldn't do much.
Yeah.
So, we bring him to camp. You think he's healed, and it actually was worse.
Mm.
We brought him to San Antonio, and after a few 4 days, he was. So we figured the best thing to do is send him home and get him healthy, and he's been cleared now. So he's in trying to get in playing shape. So that's going to be a plus. It's almost like, oh my gosh, you got possibly a starter after week 1. I don't think he'll play this week because we got to get him. We got to get him into playing
game shape.
He's not in bad shape, but he hasn't done a lot. So, and then we got beat up a little bit on the corner thing, and Xavier came. We've had our eyes on him, and I think he's from Portland State, but he was in the Jets camp 2 years ago in Buffalo this year.
Nice.
I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a good help in our secondary.
Well, one wave today that is surprising, but also not surprising because Sam Irwin-Hill's coming back. But I tell you what, Ryan Winslow, he had one heck of a punting game in San Antonio. I mean, he was hitting that coffin corner like he'd been doing it for years.
You know what? I had number one, I have a history with Sam. I tried to recruit him when I was at Louisville.
Nice.
I know his guys from Australia, and he actually yoed me, went to Arkansas. So when I got in this league, his guys called me and, hey, you got to sign Sam. And so
nice.
I think he was Memphis is right. I called him. They already had a punter, and Will Lewis and me are friends. I say, hey, we'll release him. So we signed Sam. He did a great job. He had a little bit of a visa problem. He had to go home and in the middle of camp. And you know what? I knew Ryan because of my days at Louisville and Syracuse, and his agent actually kicked for us, Mike, and Coach Marmee when we were at Arizona State.
Oh, nice.
And I really trust this guy. And he goes, hey, and so I knew Ryan. We brought him in. He did a great job in preseason for the Bears. He was nothing but a professional. And you know what? The decision was made, hey, let's let him kick game 1. Yeah. And he did a great job. We got him on tape. And he's going to get a job. He'll be on a roster within a week.
It was some good punting. We don't like to see that many punts, but when we do, we like to see good punting. So it was good to see.
Great job. And it was hard for me to, say, hey, but with I think he knew if Sam did get his problems fixed, he was going to come back, and he was our punter. And Ryan handled it like a pro. But
great.
I'm telling you this, I'm sending this tape out. I've talked to every GM, and they're all looking at him. And you watch, he'll be on a team in a week.
Awesome. Well, we definitely wish him the best of luck. I mean, it was some great special teams play from him on Saturday.
Yep. He would have been the special teams player of the week in the league, probably.
Hey, Dave, before we let you go, there's one other question that has been burning in the back of my mind since, really the quarterback draft. But what is the whole draft situation next year? How does that work? What are we looking at? Is there an overall draft for all, or is there the allocation come back into effect?
I don't think it's all been worked out. Us as GMs were like saying after it's all over, hey, let all of our allocated players who have asked for releases to come back. So it's not so much hard on the league tracking guys. That's not been decided. But, yeah, we'll do the same thing, after the NFL is done. Then the guys out there we can claim that are not claimed. And then you go through preseason. The guys who get cut, we try to sign. And so it'll be the allocated process again, Okay. We'll definitely be picking kids from San Diego State, San Diego University, and USC, and, our main feeder school, Stanford, Washington, Colorado, and we go from there. And when it comes to the quarterback draft, we'll just have to see because, if you're happy with the guys you have on your team now, you're probably not going to release and re-sign, and, let's go again.
Well, if I may suggest one thing, and this is just a suggestion.
What's this going to be?
Perhaps next season, maybe the team's favorite podcasting team can maybe make a pick.
Hey, you know what? We'll let you put it in, man.
We don't ask for a lot here.
We don't ask for a lot. I mean, we missed out on the offensive coaching position, so
we were trying to get a hold of you to put our names in the contention for offensive coordinator, and that just flew right over. But now we just want to be the guys that pick for you. No.
Hey, you get that app, man. You can pick every play. All right? The AAF app, and you can be picking up a play.
Sounds good.
To be on the sidelines, I thought it was pretty cool. Something very unique.
It was
for,
pretty cool.
It was.
The guys who are really into fantasy football are women, and I mean it's something cutting edge. So
it's that you speaking right up Joe's alley right there with the fantasy football.
Yeah, I'm a huge problematic fantasy football player is the way I like to put it. But
you think about Mike, Coach Martz, and his offense and the greatest show on turf. Well, you know what? Mike's always run the ball too, and I think you saw a little Jaquan Gardner.
Oh,
Gardner,
that was very
I would
nice.
hit past every play, but you know what? We're going to mix it up on him good. So you'll see that. I think you're going to see a well-balanced attack, and we're going to have a lot of yards, both passing and rushing this weekend.
I think only one other player in the league had a better rushing average per touch.
You know what?
Gardner.
Someone told me about him, and I didn't believe it. You watch him, and all of a sudden you're
explosive.
Like, man. But you know who he is? He's Darren Sproles.
Yeah.
You know what? I said this same
He literally
thing.
said that out loud when we were watching it. They were like, that's Darren Sproles right there. So,
I mean, the guy can catch the ball in the backfield. I don't think anybody ever thought Darren would ever be a feature back.
Right.
And he's still playing 15 years later, and he wasn't even 5'6". So
effective too.
This kid has a lot of the same characteristics. He's a great team player, hard worker, and a good person. So, and he can carry the rock, and he's going to be explosive in our offense.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Dave. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule. I know you've got a lot going on right now, but we really could not be more appreciative for you coming on and giving us some of your time and answering some of the questions that we had. So, and if there's anything else you want to...
guys, you always got me on that time difference, and I was
I know, we were so close a bunch of times.
Darn close.
It's us. We're night owls.
I apologize, but hey, you know what? Keep up the work. Anytime you need us, we'll get me or our staff on, and you know what? Just make sure people out there in San Diego are buying tickets, SanDiegoFleet.com. And you know what? We want to break the record. Like I told someone today, I said, I pulled in San Antonio, and oh my gosh, I saw people tailgating in February. Is that weird for football? You walk in there, and people got in late because the parking lots were full. So you know what? I know we can do better than San Antonio. So we're gonna, you know what? It's going to be a good show on Sunday. I hope 30,000 plus are there. And,
yes.
We're going to have a good product on the field, and we're going to bring pro football back to San Diego with a victory.
Well, I love it. We love to hear that, and that's the whole reason we started doing what we're doing, is to get people aware and get people there. So we're going to turn out, and rain or shine, it's going to be old school San Diego tailgating and football watching. We're excited about it.
Well, I'm going to be out in that parking lot getting everybody rolling.
Nice.
Let's get it going.
Swing on by F3 is where we'll be. And Smiffy?
Yeah, and then hey, we'll hook you up. Maybe if I don't know what your pregame pregame ritual is, but we'll have some eats and some drinks.
Nice selection of meats. So swing on by.
If you get me before 2 hours before the game and have a hot dog out there, I'm gonna come out and have one with you and talk to y'all. So.
Beautiful,
done deal.
Consider it done.
Yes.
All right, Dave. Thanks so much. Enjoy your night. Get some rest, and have a great week. Let's get them on Sunday.
Man, take care.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that interview with General Manager of the Fleet, Dave Boller.
I certainly enjoyed it. I enjoy you, Smiffy.
And I enjoy you.
That was some good stuff. It was really interesting to hear Dave, clarify. Well, it took a little while to get there.
A little bit.
But in his defense, I think the allocation process has been probably the number one question that he's been asked over and over again.
Yes.
So, but there has been a lot of tweeting going on that,
especially today.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but a lot of people out there are saying that the Fleet is a feeder league, a feeder team to the Chargers or another specific team, and that's just not the case.
That is not correct.
It's just a policy that is in place. You get players coming to us. It's not. They can go back to the NFL any which way they want.
Right. As an example, Josh Johnson.
Exactly. So stop it, Twitter.
Yeah.
What? Stop. But anything else we want to recap on Dave's interview there?
He just sounds like a guy I want to have a hot dog with and a beer before a game.
And it looks like we may have that opportunity.
Yes.
At tailgating. So I will give him a text and have him come on by.
Definitely will.
Yeah. So we are going to be tailgating in F3. I don't think we're really going to be doing like a big old production about it. But if you
we weren't able to get Aerosmith, so we apologize ahead of time.
If you want to come by and say hi and maybe take a bite of our meat, we might.
Joe?
Yeah. Is that not the right way to phrase it?
No, I would have chose a different phrasing.
All right, man. I'll work on that.
I know you're tired.
I am super tired, Smith.
You're puppy tired.
Oh, we didn't even mention it in the episode yet.
No,
I got a puppy. You guys.
did.
I got a brand new little tiny puppy, baby
Some
puppy.
cuteness overload too.
She is adorable.
Oh my!
Her name is Flop.
Flop.
So now I've got Noodles and Flop, and I think I'm going on 2 to 3 hours over the last 3 days of sleep.
Sounds about right.
And fading fast.
You are. So we better. You know what? We need to talk
fast.
faster.
We do. What else do we have to talk about? So, all right. So
that's the league wrap up, and also we've got Dave Boller. So that's 2 big chunks of news, in my opinion.
That was some big.
But one thing to wrap up, I think, is what Coach Martz did say about the quarterback situation. It wasn't necessarily that Burko isn't qualified. It's just he's just not used to the system.
Yeah.
I think that's and it still sounds like he has confidence in him and everything. It's just just the timing isn't right.
Yeah.
And hey,
so I'm wondering if maybe we see Berkovici come back in. I was a little I'm still a little confused.
Me too.
On the choice to go Nelson over Ross based on that preseason game.
Right. And
the beard.
But I get it. Nelson's got the abs, so maybe it's the abs is doing it.
Those abs, but I mean, now I'm saying this facetiously, kind of, but I really hope that Martz just isn't, because looking at the stat line of the preseason game, Ross was on lights out, crazy good. 135, 2 touchdowns,
13 of 16,
2 or 3 incompletions.
Yeah,
he was freaking awesome.
Yep.
And I know this is not the case. But I can't make heads or tails of why Nelson's the guy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's just not confusing who's who.
Oh, Uncle Mike.
I don't think that's the case.
It's where he just calls everybody Timmy.
Obviously, there's practices and everything, right? There's practices going on, and maybe Ross just got, but
in all honesty, in all fairness, there's a reason why we're not coaching.
Yeah.
So there's obviously something that they see that we're just not privy to because we're not there.
Yeah. So listen, I think I'm excited to see Nelson get going. I'm excited for this game.
I'm excited for the ladies getting to see Nelson.
Yeah, I'm excited to go to our first game.
Oh my gosh! You know what? Rain or shine.
I'll be there.
We're there. You know
Ponchoed.
what?
If it rains, we got some ponchos.
We got some yellow ponchos.
Yep, we're ponchoed up. We're ready to go.
We're gonna punch the heck out of this.
We got our crisp 5 to the player who scores the first touchdown in the.
It's all ready. It's all starched and ready.
The crispiest 5 you've ever seen in your life. So come on and get it.
You know, by the way, before we move on to the next subject, let's talk about tickets.
Yes.
The gates. I shouldn't say gates, but the ticket quote unquote booth will be open game time.
Yep.
So if that's if you don't have tickets or whatever, come on down. Come on down to Mission
You can
Valley.
buy them right at the box office, and that way I think you avoid paying Ticketmaster fees.
You avoid paying Ticketmaster fees. You can jump on the trolley, get there. You don't have to pay parking.
Nope. And so I think I want to see 30,000, Smith.
I would really love to see 30,000.
I would be so excited. If it rains,
so what?
So what? Come on out.
Exactly.
Who cares? Let's get a little
football. It's professional football.
Hey, the fleet is on water.
Yeah, you got to expect that if you're in the fleet, you're going to get wet.
Yeah. If you're sending the fleet, you're going to make a splash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to see it rain. Rain games are fun.
Make it rain.
Make it rain. But no, I think we got a good game on our hands. I think it's going to be high scoring for us.
For us. Yeah. Sorry, Legends.
But I think that'll about wrap it up for the show today, Smiffy. Was there anything else that we egregiously missed here in this episode? I think I've said egregious too many times.
Yes, there's actually quite a bit that we missed.
Did we? Are we not? We're not at the end of the game?
Well, we haven't even talked about the app. And we haven't got to listener questions.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we have so much more show.
We are
for you guys.
halfway
That was
there.
a psych. That was a psych out. I think the show is going to be super long.
Yes.
But I'm not functioning. I'm not in my form today.
It's okay, man. That's why I'm here. You know, I'm your backup. You know, I just like, get you on back on track. And like, no.
All right. So we have listener questions. What do you want to get to first, Smith? You take command here.
Well, let's go to the questions.
That was a terrible phrasing.
Son of a gun. That was horrible.
Ugh. You take charge, Smiffy?
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Should we just scrap this episode? No.
Let's go flank speed.
And moving on to the Facebook questions that we didn't already answer.
We did not.
Answer.
Speaking of
throughout the course of this show, James Matthews, epic question asker.
Yes.
James Matthews has a doozy for us.
He doozies.
Sniffy.
All right. Well, he asked the average margin of victory this weekend was 21 points. He just want to know if this is good for the league or just something that just happened to be kind of neat. If you're a math freak, I guess. Now,
our game, of course, Fleet versus Commanders was a lot closer. The other margins of victories were pretty big. My favorite game was probably the Hot Shots versus the Stallions.
I agree.
It was a hard fought game. There was a lot of offense in that game.
There was.
Hot Shots kind of pulled away at the end.
Yeah, it kind of started getting a little out of control there.
The Stallions made a game of it, but I think it's probably chalked up to just the fact that this is still more or less, we're kind of still in preseason mode.
It is.
For lack of a better terms. I think everyone's still figuring each other out.
Yep.
Now, everyone's got a game of film to watch.
Totally.
I think these are going to be a little bit closer.
I think things are going to start getting closer, and also, too, just the natural flow of team dynamics in general. Some teams just gel quicker than others.
Yeah.
And that could be the persona of the coach. It could just be the players themselves and other stuff like that where you're moving your hand at me.
Smith was getting into it, and he was banging on the desk, and I was hearing it in my headphones. I was like, stop it, Smithy. Bad Smithy.
And then the next question, I don't even want to answer this one, but I guess we have to. Obi McQuaid asks, were the giveaways rigged?
He's talking about the giveaways that we did at the watch party.
Yes.
So the fleet was awesome enough to hook us up with some stuff to give away. We threw in some of our shirts and some stuff. And everybody who won was one of our friends.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. No, that's not true. The guy who won the tickets.
Yeah, the guy that won the tickets.
He was literally the last guy to enter the raffle. He won tickets and a hat, or what did he win? Shirt.
Yep.
And the tickets. So, no, not rigged.
Not rigged at all.
That guy was a convert. He'd never even heard of the fleet before we got there, and he ended up winning the tickets. So he will be at the first game of the season.
Yeah, he won 2 tickets to the opening game.
Yeah.
So congrats.
Congratulations. But no, they're not rigged, Obi McHugh.
No,
Get out of here. Come on.
You see the whale of fate? That cannot be rigged, sir.
We put all of the tickets into the mouth of a whale a pitcher that's the shape of a whale.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's appropriate, though.
Seemed appropriate.
It did.
All right. So basically our overall take, Kylan Pownell, new member of the group. I haven't seen much from Kylan previous to this, but he asks, do you think we will experience any success given the low quality of our offensive line? Ooh, it's a tough one.
Man, he's
just making some assumptions. Was Berkovici as bad as he looked, or was it due to the offensive line? It's easy to say both are responsible, but I'm hoping to get a more in-depth answer. Wow. So Kylan comes in strong.
Guns a-blazing.
Guns a-blazing. Now, okay, so... Wow, man, we just gotta give our brutal, honest answer here.
I think so. You go first.
All right. Looking at the preseason and looking at the game, I kind of have to agree with what Mike Smart said. I just don't think Berkovici is ready for this system, even with the poor offensive line play.
Right.
Because if, as evidenced by the second half of the preseason game and even the the third quarter of or fourth quarter of our game,
right.
The offensive line, we were able to make decent strides and better gains with a different quarterback in there.
Yes.
In both scenarios.
Yes.
So I just don't think Berkovic is the guy. Personally,
unfortunately,
I don't.
And that's not a dig on him.
No,
it's there on the tape, on the film. My feelings on this is there's a couple of folds to this.
Yeah.
One, Berkovici looked like a rookie quarterback.
He was floating the ball.
And holding on to the ball too long. That internal clock wasn't setting off the alarm when it should. He was obviously feeling the pressure because he was scrambling. So he knew the pressure was coming, but unfortunately, he would just hold on to the ball too long.
Yeah.
And with an offensive line that wasn't, let's be honest, wasn't doing the job, you have to know you can't hold on to the ball. You've got to get it out. But also, too, but that also translates to some of the play calling, too. So if you know that your quarterback's not getting a whole lot of time, you've got to adjust the play calling. A, go to the run more.
Mm-hmm.
And B, you just got to have quicker plays like slants and things like that. So he can just get it, sling it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening. I just didn't see the adjustment on those three phases that I would like to have saw.
He wasn't hitting his checkdowns when there was pressure.
No.
And he was still trying to air it out.
Yep. And when he didn't have pressure, I did notice he was doing the checkdowns.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, first game, like only 30 days. So
yeah.
I think if we're like in week 3 or 4 and we're still seeing some play like that on the offensive line, something's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I won't be surprised if Berkovici's a starter by the end of the season.
Oh, totally.
But I think it all depends. It's, at this point, if Nelson could come in and absolutely light it up, Ross, we've seen good things from him. I think he could come in and light it up.
Burko's got the skills, man. Just needs little tinkering.
Yep. So, okay. So Garrett Whitford, you asked this one because it's got more Charlton Heston references that fly right over my head.
That's all right. So the last line, and I try to pride myself on getting these references without going to IMDb, and I believe that last reference was to
let's read the questions.
Wayne's World.
Okay. Well, let's read the questions.
Oh, you want me to read it?
So the listeners,
I was reading it. I just wasn't reading it out loud.
Yeah, the listeners need to hear it audibly in order to understand what we're talking about. It's kind of how this works.
Son of a gun. Shoot. All right. My bad. No. So Garrett asks, I firmly believe that we need to have a picture-in-picture option or something for Spurrier Cam, which I kind of agree. He was actually entertaining on the sidelines, man. Yeah. I'm not a big Spurrier fan, just never have for no particular reason. Yeah. It's not that I dislike him, but it was actually entertaining to see him on those sidelines. And then when he was mic'd up too, it was pretty funny listening to what he was saying. So, I got to agree with you on that one.
Now, I only got to watch the replay, so I didn't see the entire Spurrier Cam action. Mm-hmm. But I agree that the two games going on at the same time, it would be nice to have maybe some sort of insight as to what's going on with the other game.
Correct.
Now, I was looking for it, and I didn't see it. I didn't see any streaming in the app. Okay. Did you?
No, I could not find it.
Now,
if it was there, it was buried.
I heard reports because people were saying, the audio's out of sync with the app.
Actually, the entire broadcast was out of sync with the app. The app obviously was real time.
Yeah.
Or as close to real time.
Yeah.
Whereas the broadcast clearly had a delay, which I don't. Typically, you have a delay to try and cover either
cursing,
foul language, certain technical difficulties. That clearly was not the case because Mr. Hackenberg. If your mom was watching that game, I think her face would have been red.
Yeah, Hackenberg, from all reports, say Hackenberg's got himself a bit of a potty mouth. But
the funny part is
sense.
Every time he would apologize to the ref.
Oh, that's hilarious. But so back to the app being out of sync, I do recall one moment in the watch party where O'Brien just like jumped out of his seat with excitement. And we're like, what the heck? Literally nothing happened. Yeah. And a good probably 4 or 5 minutes later, we got an interception, an awesome interception. And he had already seen it on the app, like a really way well ahead of it. So the app, as far as the functionality of the predictability functions, that wasn't really possible to do.
It's no fun.
Yeah, it wasn't.
When you're trying to watch the game
and
play the game.
Well, I figure if it really had that perfect synchronicity, so maybe while we're there at the game, it could be a lot more fun.
Well, I'm concerned about that too.
Watching at home, it definitely just wasn't happening.
And that got me thinking what you just said. That actually has a concern for me. If you're at the game and trying to play the game on the app, are you really there to watch the game?
Well, no, because that's the thing is in between plays.
Yeah.
So here's my thing, right? I could definitely see being able to, in between plays, quickly, like with my buddies, in particular, being like, oh, dude, they should pass or run right now. And then just be like, boom, boom, boom. Because the app's pretty slick. It's right there at your fingertips. You can go pass left, first down. Or pass or run middle, right? Takes all of 15 seconds.
If it lets you.
Yeah.
Because I was using the iOS version, and boy, howdy, it would be smooth for 3 plays, and then the next 4 or 5, like, all of a sudden it's fourth. What?
Yeah.
Whoa, how does the other team have the ball? So it needs a lot of work. It was, and the second biggest thing, in my opinion, that I had a problem with the app, it was giving me a freaking headache because it had this stupid automatic zooming in and out where all of a sudden it zooms in so far you can just barely see one of the little animated helmets and you have no idea what's happened. Then all of a sudden you see the ball just zigzagging across the screen. Yeah. I'm like, is it a fumble? I don't know what just happened.
Now, it's kind of, so in the article with Charlie Ebersol about the app, like, in my opinion, there's some features there. There was not that many features. There's the main thing, which was you're trying to predict the game.
Right.
Charlie said that they want to leak out all the features slowly throughout the season, as to not overwhelm the user. Now, if you release an app that doesn't really work very well, people are just going to give up on it. That's how apps work.
That's just how
right?
it does.
So I agree with maybe the premise of releasing just a few that work really well.
There you go.
But when
That's the key.
If they don't, then maybe what would have been more valuable before we introduced the game element is the analysis and telemetry element.
Right.
I would have been more interested to see, how fast the ball traveled when you passed it.
Right.
It could have been like, oh, that last pass was 22 miles per hour.
Exactly.
Oh, that last run was 17 miles per hour.
Right.
I would have been more interested to be seeing some of those advanced telemetry data because let's face it, everyone who's watching the Alliance, they're hardcore football people.
Oh, totally.
Right. Totally. I would say there's way less casual viewers of the Alliance than there is the NFL.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Because if you're watching this game, it's because you are desperate for more football. And you're the type of guy that's probably one of those stats analytics junkies.
Exactly.
Like myself.
Yeah. And you're having problems getting these numbers off this app.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I had to actually stop the game because it was like driving me up the wall with that this no rhyme or reason zooming in and out.
Yeah.
Just like either A, allow me to set what perspective, or B, don't just randomly start zooming in and out. It makes no. I couldn't do.
Got some stuff to work out. We can, critique all day long.
We could, and also too, I think we're probably a little harsh because of our.
We're both software. We both come from a software, literally quality assurance background in software. So it was our job, 45 hours a week for many, many years to basically go to the developers and tell them what's wrong with their software.
What I saw was those were showstoppers in my opinion.
Yeah, it shouldn't have gone out, but they would have never heard that if they didn't come out with anything.
Oh, it would have been worse. I get that.
But if they're developing all this stuff in tandem and they're really intentionally dripping it out, I think they chose the wrong element to drip out first. It wasn't fully baked. And honestly, to me, it seems like it would have been easier to do just some of the telemetry stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and also that's insightful.
It is.
That's interesting.
It is.
Right. It's a little less game element to it.
Right.
But it's very insightful. It tells you what's going on without, having the gaming.
Absolutely. But I got to level 5.
Yeah.
So I'm a starter now. I'm not a rookie.
Did you? I didn't even get out of level 1, man.
Yeah.
I gave up.
I was calling the plays, man. That's what I'm saying. We should have been co-offensive coordinators.
I was just excited. I was running around the bar. I was jumping around. I was.
Well, I waited till Sunday's games to do it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was driving to go pick up my puppy. I didn't get to watch all the Sunday's games from home like Smiffy did. Leave the pin in on Twitter, which I assume is a reference to a grenade. You want to keep those pins in on those grenades. He asked, what's the general vibe like for the team in San Diego? People excited out there. Now I would have to, I'll just hop right into this. I would still say there's generally, San Diego is such a large area.
It's spread out.
There's still generally a lot of unawareness.
Yes.
I think after this last week, that's changed to a certain extent.
True.
Once people have now actually seen the product, I think the excitement is going to grow. I was a little worried. I was like, okay, and that all comes down to the execution and how the games were played and the
Correct.
quality of the football. I really think, and just looking at you can look at a Twitter feed, for example.
Yeah.
The week before, 2 weeks before, I would search San Diego Fleet, and there would be like maybe 20, 30 posts in the entire day that just said San Diego Fleet. Now, if you do that same search, it's constant. Several per minute.
Yes.
Referencing San Diego Fleet. So the awareness is way up after week 1, I have to say.
Totally agree.
And then we saw it firsthand at the watch party. One of the waitresses came up to me and she was like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And this is a waitress that works at a bar called the 55-yard line. This is a football bar. She had no idea that the Fleet was a thing.
None.
And then she's like, this is great. I love this. I'm their biggest fan now. Like, I'm in 100%. I'm going to get tickets. I'm going to the games. And that was pretty much the response we got from almost everybody at the bar watching with us. I think maybe our enthusiasm had a little bit to help sway them. We had a big group and we were loud and we were obnoxious and we were super into the game. And that got everyone kind of excited. And I think if San Diego sees that, like, I encourage, go out to bars, watch the games.
Totally.
Like, if you can't go to the game or it's an away game, get out there and watch and have the bars turn the games on. Like, it's partially our duty or our responsibility as fans to spread the word.
Absolutely.
And if you want this to continue, if you want it to be super successful, like, that's the whole reason why we started this podcast.
Exactly. We want to make as many people aware that we have this brand new league, brand new football team here in San Diego.
Yeah. And a great way to do it is to literally get out there on game day and just, be excited for the team.
Yeah. And one thing that I've noticed is talking to people who have no clue that it even exists is once they find out, they're like, oh, that's really cool. On the flip side of that, the advertising has been a little odd in my opinion, especially in my neighborhood, because there's billboards in my neighborhood and a Fleet billboard will pop up and it will be almost immediately gone the very next day.
Yeah. He mentioned that. I haven't seen that firsthand, but the lifespan of the billboards apparently is very short out here in San Diego. So, but I think, I only see it growing.
Same here.
I talked to one guy at the meet at our event, and it was really cool. His story, he's like, I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm a Steelers fan. I didn't care one way or the other about the Chargers when they were here.
Exactly.
But I've been here for 15 years, and now I'm super excited. It's like I'm a big Goals fan. Now I'm a huge Fleet fan. Like, I'm so excited to have a new hometown team because this is where I live. Like, I'm from Pittsburgh, but I live here. And I think
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. And that's almost nobody, aside from Smiffy here, is actually a San Diego native that lives here. It's super rare. You almost never find them.
It is.
And so it's really cool to have this new football element to rally around as a city. And I think we're going to see it on Sunday.
I do too.
I think we're going to turn out.
I do too. And I think the Fleet itself, I think, probably has the most fans that are spread out not only across the country, but across the world.
Yeah.
So there's something about it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the naval theme, the military theme.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people who either moved here because of their service or maybe have had family in their service. And let's face it, this past weekend was an anomaly.
Yeah.
We're going to go 9-1. I'm calling it right now. So if you want to see it, you need to go to the stadium.
Come on
watch
out.
These games.
If you're listening to the show, just tell everyone bring them out. Like, they're gonna like it. They're gonna have fun. And I'm not just hypothesizing this. Like, we actually saw it. People who had no idea,
or
we
being
saw
hyperbolic,
them convert right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, that's I'm going to be honest with you. I did.
You're right. What did I say? Hypothetical? I don't know what I said.
You said hypothetical.
I'm not even sure these are words.
These
that
are
coming out of my
somethings.
mouth. but we've seen it. So come on out.
Yeah, come on out. You know what? And if you don't want to deal with like any online silliness or anything like that, just go down to the stadium. The gates are open. You can go in there. You don't have to pay for parking. The San Diego Fleet office is between gates A and B. Mm-hmm. Go in there and ask for David Boller or anybody having to do with ticket sales. They will be more than happy to talk to you.
You'll see that some of the people behind the scenes, super friendly crew over there. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great show. Great experience. Come on out. It'll be like old times.
It will.
But with a new flavor.
Flavor. Freshly squeezed football.
Come on out. One last thing before we sign off, Smith. We're doing a Twitter giveaway.
Yes, we are.
We are giving away an Oyo Sports Fleetman. What is this you say?
That thing is a pretty dang looking cool little Fleetman.
It's super cool. So Oyo Sports makes the entire lineup of figurines for the Alliance, and they're just super
awesome.
super cool. So
yeah, they're cool.
I saw them. I was like, "That's cool. I'm gonna pick one up." Yeah, I bought the whole thing. I bought an extra one to give away, and so head on over. All you got to do is retweet and follow. The whole purpose is this: just spread the word of the fleet.
Exactly.
Maybe people that follow you don't know about the fleet or the Alliance, and that's the point. And
and if it's not the fleet, let's spread the word about the league.
Yeah, exactly. And so head on over to Twitter, retweet it. You got your chance to win that bad boy. Big thanks to Dave Boller.
Yeah, great conversation.
Great conversation with Dave Boller. Lots of insight there. And we've been talking to Dave a lot behind the scenes.
Indeed.
He may or may not be one of my inside sources that we frequently reference.
Cannot confirm
or deny. But anyways, this does bring us to the end of our show. It's been a fun one. Smiffy, you know what that means?
I do. And I know you do too.
Yep, sweet outro music.
There it is.
There it is, my friend. And you know what sweet outro music means?
I do.
It means we talk a little bit about our beards.
Our glorious beards. Not as glorious as Philip Nelson's abs.
Phil Nelson's abs maybe, just be slightly more glorious
yes,
than our beards.
There's no abclub.com.
There might be. I don't want to go there.
No.
Forget it. I'm too old for that. But head on over to the beardclub.com. Get yourself some quality beard care products. Buy the products. They're for your face. You put them on your face. Next thing you know, your face is covered with a beautiful beard.
Yes, those products are like whisker wizardry.
Whiskers, wizards, beards. New shirt.
Done.
Thanks again for coming and hanging out with us. This has been fun. We are the Shipyard. We are the boys at the yard. Our milkshakes are better than the Commanders, except for maybe this week. They were slightly, us losing really kind of screwed up our little outro line, didn't it?
Did.
Okay, well, just know, we're still the best, man. We're the best, man, in town.
Darn right they are.
We do, yeah.
All right.
We've been humbled slightly.
For a week.
For 1 week.
Just one.
You can't keep the boys at the yard humbled.
Can never.
No.
Never.
No.
You may temporarily.
And we're Sleepy Time Podcasting. I don't even have the music turned up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's not even playing.
There we go.
What's happening? Everything's wrong. Oh, there it is. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it is there.
There is some music. Sleepy Time for VanAwesome. He's a sleepy man, but he still loves the fleet.
So he's gonna try to stay awake.
Smith is coming on over to help me stay awake. Yeah. And talking about the fleet. Now, this is a test record.